got your tea, settle in, you and me. A little advice, a laugh or two, maybe a word from Miss Do. Got a question, feeling blue, or just wanna hear something new? We're sharing thoughts and points of view. The Yapping Corner welcomes you.
Hey, I'm Due, and this is the Yapping Corner. Da, 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 da. Oh my god. Please picture me dancing to that intro song. I cannot help myself. I really hope you enjoyed as much as I do. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of you for being here. Even if all of you currently means like 3 people, probably including my brother, my best friend, and maybe one really bored stranger who happened to stumble upon this podcast. To all 3 of you, I say welcome. You are early. You are the ride or dies, even if you didn't mean to be, and I love that for us. Okay, in all seriousness, thank you. Starting something new is always a little scary, especially when you're putting your voice, thoughts, and brain out into the world. Honestly, it felt a bit overwhelming at first. Not in a dramatic, cry in the shower kind of way, but in a weird, what if no one cares way. Luckily, I got over that feeling pretty quickly. Mostly by deciding I don't really care much about the outcome because I'm doing this for my own amusement. But still, the story I'm about to share today, it helped me through so much. And that made me think, hey, maybe it could help someone else too. Maybe one person out there will hear this and go, huh, same. Or at least feel a little less alone. And honestly, that would be enough. That would make this whole thing feel worth it. So, knowing that someone, anyone, is out there listening makes me feel slightly less like I'm just talking to my wall, which, by the way, I am doing right now. Like, literally. My face is pointed at a very blank section of my apartment wall, but I'll just pretend you're there with me, nodding along and laughing, or rolling your eyes, which is fair too. Okay, now that we've addressed my tiny but mighty audience, let's get into the real stuff. This episode is about to get personal, so bear with me and my poor storytelling skills. Today's episode is about something I think we've all experienced, whether we realized it or not, those conversations that completely shift the way we see things. You know the ones. You're minding your business, maybe just venting or going through something, and someone casually drops a line, and suddenly you're like, wait, hold on, that hit a little too close. And this exact thing happened to me. Just a random comment from a stranger that made everything click. It wasn't so much a conversation as it was a moment, but it totally flipped my perspective. So one time, my sister got really sick, and we rushed her to the hospital. So I was in full on sibling panic mode, right? I was paying close attention to every word the doctor said. And after all the tests and poking, the doctor just drops this absolute gem on us. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Yeah, that doesn't sound too positive. I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like something you'd read in a fortune cookie that wants you to cry. But that day, for some reason, those words stayed with me. They gave her some medicine, and let's just say she was not feeling great. In fact, she felt awful. It was the kind of bad day where you're thinking, I cannot handle worse. But as you can guess, a couple of hours later, she was back to her old self. Better than before, even. She just had to power through that rough patch because Well, it was all leading to something better. And the only reason she felt better was because the doctor made it worse first. And that's when it clicked for me. It wasn't just a hospital thing, it applies to so many parts of life. I had been sitting in my little comfort zone for years. And sure, it wasn't terrible. I wasn't waking up every day crying into my cereal, but I wasn't exactly thriving either. So one day I thought, you know what? Let's shake things up. I quit my job. I quit my job thinking I was being bold and brave and maybe a bit dramatic. I told myself, okay, this is probably going to get worse before it gets better. I was hoping it would. Spoiler alert, it did. Things got really tough for a while. The stress hit, the self doubt crept in. I wondered if I had made a huge mistake. The job I landed right after wasn't exactly glamorous. The pay was low, but it was aligned with my career path, the one that I actually wanted, and it matched what I was studying, so I took it. But at some point, it stopped being just about work. The problems were building up, and this wasn't just a job decision anymore. It was my whole life on the line. I had to move out from home, not because I wanted more freedom or independence, though that came later, but because staying at home simply wasn't an option. The environment was toxic, and the longer I stayed, the worse things got. So I left, even though I had no idea how I was going to make it all work. And trust me, I am not being dramatic. If you know the full story, you know exactly what I mean. I really had no choice. Moving out was, for me, a survival move. It was the only way I could start building the life I wanted. And that's when I got hit with the reality check. I had no home and a crappy job. Luckily, my very loving sister, and now healthy, lent me her comfortable couch to sleep in. So, from that very couch, the job hunt intensified. I ended up working 3 jobs at the same time just to make it work. I managed to move out from my sister's house and rent my own apartment, which was a huge step for me. But I was constantly juggling schedules, hustling, and basically running on caffeine and Oreos. Then came a slightly better paying job. Yay, money. But the hours, absolutely wild. I was working from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m., then again from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., sleeping in broken little chunks. I was cooking, studying, trying to look alive. It was all chaos. But after a lot, and I mean a lot, of grinding and 2 other not so perfect jobs, I finally landed a part time job that checked all the boxes. It pays well, it's aligned with my career, it gives me time to study, and it doesn't suck the soul out of my body. Plus, I get to meet interesting people, which is always a bonus. So, yeah, things got worse. Way worse. There were times I had no time and no money, or both. But eventually, after all the messy, exhausting effort, things got better in every aspect possible. And looking back now, I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I had stayed where I was. And look, I know I come from a position of privilege. Not everyone has the same safety nets or starting line. I know that. But I also put in a massive amount of effort. And if you're someone who's willing to fight for what you want, I think you're already halfway there. So I finally understood that the whole worse before better thing meant good things. I started applying that idea everywhere, breaking up with old habits, changing my routines, even doing things that felt uncomfortable. It all clicked. The tough moments are just part of the process. They are temporary and, more importantly, they are necessary for growth. The best part, it is worth it every single time. And here's how it shows up for all of us. Maybe on a smaller scale, because there's really no need for me to keep being such an extremist about it. It's kind of like when you finally decide to get back into shape, you're all motivated at first, right? You buy the fancy gym clothes, maybe download an app, convince yourself that this is the new you. Then reality hits. Day one, your muscles feel like jelly. Day two, and you are waddling around like a penguin because your legs have decided they are done being legs and they are now too spaghetti. And you think, is this really worth it? But it is. A few weeks later, you are not only moving without grimacing, but actually feel stronger. You look back and think, dang, I really survived that soreness, huh? It's the same story every time. You just have to push through the rough start to get to the good part. Another good example is moving to a new place. It has a similar vibe. You know that moment when you first move to a new place or a different city and everything feels wrong? You take a wrong turn and end up who knows where. It's like, am I ever going to know my way around this place? You miss your old routine, your go to spots, and it feels like you'll never feel at home. But eventually, after a few missed buses and accidentally finding that one amazing cafe, one day you walk around and realize you know exactly where you're going. And that little coffee shop on the corner is now your spot. If you never ventured out or got a little lost, you wouldn't have found it. It's funny how that discomfort at the beginning is actually what makes it feel like home later on. Now, I want you to think about your own life. What's been a worse before better moment for you? It could be something big or small, but have you ever gone through a tough situation knowing deep down that it was all part of the bigger picture? Let's talk about that. Just think about it. Maybe it'll give us both a new perspective. So, whether it's dealing with a tough situation, starting a new routine, moving to a different place, or just taking a big leap in life, it all comes down to the same thing. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And that's okay. It's part of the process, even if it feels like everything's a mess at first. You push through the discomfort, let things unfold, and you will look back one day and realize just how much you've grown. It's like life's little way of testing our patience and resilience, reminding us that good things often come with a bit of chaos. Next time you're stuck in a worse phase, just remember you're building towards something better. And when it clicks, it's totally worth it. Oh, also, I am getting two of my wisdom teeth taken out today, so wish me luck. Truly a live example of worse before better. If you've been through that, please send me your best tips. What do I even eat if I can't chew? Do I just become a soup person? I have so many questions. And if you feel like sending some ice cream my way, I won't say no. I'll let you know how that goes. Thanks for hanging out with me today at the Yapping Corner. I hope you didn't find this episode too depressing. I promise I don't usually spiral into an emotional TED talk right off the bat, but hey, sometimes the heavy stuff hits first. And hopefully, my story and the little bits of wisdom tucked in there helped you see those messy and comfortable moments from a slightly different light. If you got your own stories where things got worse before they got better, I would love to hear them. Seriously, reach out, please, and share. I am all ears. I probably won't answer if you call because I'll be all gross and mashed potatoes this weekend, but I will still read your messages. All right. I hope this episode reminded you that even if life feels like a chaotic sitcom plotline right now, things do shift. Maybe not overnight, maybe not without effort, but they do. And hey, if no one else is listening, at least my walls really invested in my emotional growth. I swear, it's been nodding along silently this whole time. MVP behavior. Um, okay. I will shut up now. I am at the Yapping Corner on pretty much every platform. So come say hi. I do check my DMs. Don't judge me if I take like 3 business days to reply, but I would love to read your stories. I have made that very clear. So talk soon.
Got your coffee, got your tea.